So here's a hypothetical for anybody out there with half a brain, who has half a brain, who has the degree of depth. What happens to somebody who doesn't, let's say you like yourself enough to not kill yourself, okay? Or perhaps you don't really like yourself enough, but fear stops you from killing yourself, or simply not wanting to hurt those you know will die inside if you kill yourself, okay? Those who love you. But on the other side of the spectrum, so you like yourself enough to not kill yourself, but you don't like yourself enough to feel worthy of anything, okay? Let's balance those two out. You like yourself enough not to kill yourself, or you at least care enough about others that you're not going to kill yourself, or you're just plain fucking terrified to do it, okay? On the one, and then on the other hand, you really don't feel worthy of anything, worthy of love, worthy of success, or worthy of whatever, okay? Now let's just suppose you get some of this, for whatever reason. Or even in my case, I got it a little bit. I got it with, you know, receiving praise out on the internet, you know, from strangers who some became friends, good friends, you know, being called beautiful, brilliant, whatnot. Even on dating websites, I get it. You're so sexy, you're so beautiful, you have an unreal body. I bet you hear that all the time. No, actually, I was busy being abused for years, and you know, lived on the streets, lived in LA for a week, you know, nearly died, blah, blah, whatever, blah, blah, trauma, you know, but whatever. No, I don't hear it all the time. I only recently got this body back, but thank you. Anyway. So what happens to a person like that? Or even just the fact that I went from being totally not having a penny to my name and living in a homeless shelter to having $17,000 in the bank and $1,000 coming in every month. I don't know. It's hypothetical. It's hypothetical. I'm just saying, you know, you like yourself enough, or you at least care enough about others who would hurt if you killed yourself, or you're just plain fucking afraid to do it, you know? On the one hand, but on the other, deep down you really don't feel worthy of anything. Yet on a third hand, because I'm very complex, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be talking hypotheticals here, but you know, you think, well, you know, like was it Green Day? Despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage. You think, well, fuck it, you know, I'm some kind of pawn, I'm a rat in a cage. You know, I don't care whether I deserve this. I'm going to go after everything anyway, whether I deserve it or not. Well, these are all going to be, if you're me, these are all just going to be conflicting in your brain, okay? Another thing I think about at this point, I mean, I don't know if my shelter friend is going to start resenting me, because she's still stone cold broke. You know, and I'm sitting there doing stuff like getting my hair done, getting a bikini wax, my eyebrows, and clothes and whatnot, because I have the money, you know, and I've had the money. But she knows that, and so far she's been a very good friend to me, you know. I'm sure she can't help being a little resentful, but it's just like if you have a good friend who becomes really successful or famous or whatnot, and you knew them when they were nothing. That can make you resentful, I'm sure, but you either rise above it and still care about that person, or the friendship goes kaplooey. And I know kaplooey is not a word. I know kaplooey is not a word, but this is the kind of stuff I think about. You know, I've been quote-unquote suicidal for most of my life. And I put it in quotes because I'm not the type that I believe, although I reached a very, you know, towards the end there in LA, I was doing anything and everything to die, even if not directly putting a bullet through my brain, or couldn't get a gun, but you know, slicing off my wrist, or doing whatever, jumping off a cliff. Because I just had reached my breaking point, you know, and I was fat, and I was lonely, and I was at the worst lowest point in my life, and I had Donald as a mom putting more nails into my coffin every day and making me feel like a worthless piece of shit. And then you wonder why I would travel into Hollywood via 2 buses, hang out there, go to Spotlight Bar, where they wouldn't know I was a homeless loser. They wouldn't know. They just knew I was the, tall, pretty blonde who could sing a little bit, Not the best singer in the world, but I don't make the dogs scream either. Dogs howl. And got a little bit of praise, and I looked nice, and but the price I had to pay for that was I had to take buses home at 3 and 4 in the morning, or by the time they came. The buses in Hollywood don't come right away. You wait an hour at the bus stop if I get out of the club at 2 or 1. Or I used to leave actually earlier because I didn't want to be waiting that long. I'd leave sometimes at 12, and then I'd still, by the time I got to the bus stop, by the time the bus came, it would be 2 in the morning, and then I'd have to wait at another bus stop where it wasn't surrounded by people in Hollywood. It was pretty much a dark place, but it was a main street and tons of cars went by. Was I afraid? Was I afraid? No, I wasn't. Think about all that I'd gone through. I lived through Donald, the man I'd spent 7 years, 8 months of my life with, shoving me away from him in a fit of rage. I could have gone out in California. There's all low-railed bridges. At least around here in Massachusetts, there's not. They have nice high fences. At least from what I remember 12 years ago, and even what I've seen recently, low-railed bridges everywhere. I didn't like those low-railed bridges because I walked everywhere, and low-railed bridge, you could leap off that in 2 seconds and, not even have something at least stopping you for a second, or somebody being able to prevent you. No, low-railed. You climb over it and leap. I hated those low-railed bridges. They were everywhere. I could have gone over on one of those instead of flying backwards down a hill that led to a pavement below, where I smashed my head and briefly blacked out. I had a big lump sticking way out, and I thought I was going to die, and had bruises all over me. I wouldn't be here right now, so... waiting for buses in Hollywood or in California or in wherever. Walking home from the bus. Home wasn't my home, but walking back to where Donald and Hope lived at 2 and 3 in the morning, and all that crap and whatever. I was never afraid. Never afraid. Too many other things to be afraid of throughout my life. I was not afraid. I had men come up to me every once in a while. One guy was like, "Woody, you're too beautiful. Why are you waiting here at the bus stop?" Well, because I don't drive and I don't have any money. I'm poor. He told me, he looks right at me, he goes, "Be a movie star. You make $1 million for one picture." I go, "It's not that easy, but thanks."